here on my little on my little sound monitor. It's going up into the red. I just turned the gain button up. Maybe that will help. I'll leave it there for a minute. This will be interesting to watch back, that's for sure. So around about when I went over to my craft desk was where I changed the setting. All right. Oh, it looks like it's blasting. It is louder? Oh, good. Maybe that was what the issue was. I had the gain button turned right down. All right. We'll see if we can stop it dropping in and out. Now, I do have my glass mat out today because we're going to do some watercolouring, which comes with this little tray thing. I don't use my glass mat all the time because it reflects my lights and that really annoys me. So I keep bringing my grid paper back in. But we'll see, because we're watercolouring today, I might work on the glass mat and put up with the glare. So I have used 2 different products today to experiment with. One of them, this one here, now I don't know, is there a lot of difference in these, do you think? This one is a little bit more textured looking, and that's because it is. Can you see the texture in there? That is the Whispers of Texture 12x12 specialty paper. Now, I should have looked this up before I came online, but I believe it is an online exclusive. I should have looked it up. I think it is, and I probably can have a quick look while we're standing here. Maybe not. I hope that doesn't cut you all off. But I think it is. It's much louder. Oh, good. Well, that's good. I'm pleased. Maybe I've solved a little issue there. Maybe I should have found some instructions. It's a weird thing because it didn't come with any instructions, which is weird. What's this stuff called? This stuff is called Whispers of Texture. And it is a really, just going to have a look if it comes up. Yes, it must have been an online exclusive because it is available now. And it is 6 sheets. There's 3 each of 2 different textures. Oh, I bet that was loud. It's not dropping out? Well, it must have been the gain. There we go. We've learned something. So this is the stripy one. And this is the, I don't know what you'd call it. It's not really checked. It's sort of a linen look, I guess. Crash. So I wonder if I can actually let you see what this looks like. I'm just going to flip the screen around again. It's in YouTube. Go back to here. All right, so if I pick this up, put the light on it. There we go. Can you see that? That's sort of a crosshatch texture. And this one is a little stripe, which is, I like the stripe a lot. Very fine, very subtle, but it is a lovely textural element. And it's quite a thicker sheet of card. It's not quite cardstock weight, but it's definitely not DSP weight. So a lovely paper, which I'm looking forward to experimenting with, but I thought I would try and see how it held up to some watercolouring. So I did this. You can see the texture in there once it's watercoloured. And it holds up. It's a little bit wobbly, but it does hold up to, I put a lot of water onto this. It does hold up quite well. This is the Fluid 100 watercolour paper, so it's holding the water a lot better because that's what it's meant for. But I thought I would just experiment and see how they go and let you know. So I'm not sure what we'll use today. Which one do you girls prefer? Which do you like the look of best? I mean, they're pretty much the same, really. It's just that one is a little thicker. So we might just continue to work with the textured one, seeing as that's a bit different. What do you think? So I've moved back from my other room today and everything's out of sync here. All right, so excuse if you come in and say which one you like and then I don't use it. I am sorry, but there is a delay on the commenting and me speaking, so I've got it set that way so it's better quality. I could get a quicker response from you, but I would get lesser quality video. So, oh, we've had one textured. All right, let's use the textured then. I've got a couple of pieces cut. One is a bit, yep, that one. So I've cut those to our standard first layer size, which is in metric is 14.3 by 10. So I haven't got the conversion here. I'm a naughty girl. Like I keep saying I'm going to bring it in and then I don't. So I've got some, we're going to work on the glass mat to do this. So let me get these out of the road. Let me get this out of the road. And please excuse the glare. So I will work in this little tray that comes with the glass mat, but if you don't have one of these, you can use just a block. And I'm going to use my Pretty Peacock ink refill because that seems to, the ink pad just doesn't put enough ink on the block to work well for these type of water wash type backgrounds. Now, I've got I've got a jar of water and a larger paintbrush. You can use your Fluid 100, your water brushes that Stampin' Up offer, but when we're doing a wash like this, I find they just don't hold enough water, even the larger one. The large flat one doesn't really work very well for me with these water wash techniques, so I just use a regular round paintbrush, and I'm going to add some water onto here first. Now, as I said, I did use a lot of water, and it doesn't go all mushy. Like if I did this on regular white cardstock, it would just be a mushy mess. So I'm just going to lay some water down and I'm going to work over to the right-hand side. So then I want to add some water into here. So I want a lot of water. So I'm just going to put quite a bit of water down there and then smoosh it out. I want even more water than that. So it looks really dark in here, but once we add it to our paper, it should lighten up quite a lot. Right, so I want to put quite a bit of colour down. So Pretty Peacock is a really interesting colour because it goes this delightful aqua greeny colour once you make it watered down. So the any watercolouring techniques using, or even blending, when you use your blending brushes, really makes a lovely softer blue colour than what Pretty Peacock indicates it is in the cardstock, or when you use your Stampin' Blends, it's quite a dark colour. When you do this, it's quite a lot lighter. Now I'm going to add quite a bit of water to this because I want it to run out a little at the edges here. Add a little bit more ink. And the good thing about watercolouring is that, oops, it doesn't really matter what you do, except maybe that. It really generally looks pretty good. So I'm just going to take that away there. Oh, look at that. Oh. So that's interesting, it comes away quite well. So we'll just wriggle it around a bit. Let it run down to the edges. And then I'm going to dry that. So you can see it's quite light. So now let's work around the microphone, which is sitting right here in the middle of my desk. Hello, Fern, how are you? We're doing some watercolouring today. Well, watercolour washing. I've got a mute button. So I'll mute you while I'm using this because I have no idea how loud this is, but it looks loud. There we go. Was that very loud? So that's it, quite a light bluey tone, but I want it to represent Pretty Peacock a little bit more. As you can see on this one, I added quite a bit more ink to it to bring that Pretty Peacock shading out. But I still want to see some of this lovely light blue, so I'm going to only come in a little bit. So now we'll use a little bit dark. I have a lot of ink here, probably way too much ink here. But anyway, now I'm working on to dry this time, so I do want to make sure that it's quite wet. Now we're getting much more of that Pretty Peacock colourway. Now this shade, if you get too heavy, does get, I don't know, it's like almost like a mossy meadow colour in it. It's quite strange how inks are made up and how they all react differently when you mix water with them, and what mediums you use to paint them on. I love how they're all a little bit different. So this one is doing quite well. I don't have any heavy, I'll just show you what I mean. See, in this one I got a bit heavy here, and when I dried it off, it's almost, doesn't show up on the screen very well, but it's almost a mossy meadow, a really, really dark shade in there, dark shade of green. Whereas I think I've got it a bit better this time. And what I'm going to do is bring my water in and just add a little bit more water just to get some texture and light and shade. And then what I'm going to do is tip it and move that around to get some texture in there. I mean, if you're going to watercolour, you may as well get some movement in there. You can see it's going a mossy meadow type shade over here, or what I call a dark green. Right, so just move that around a little bit. Let it all soak in. And then we'll dry it off. Oops. So I'll just put you on mute again in case that's very loud. Now, as I dried that, it's taken on a totally, the greens have come out. It doesn't really look like it on the screen, but the greens have definitely come out. To me, on my screen, it looks very blue, but it is definitely very green here. This is a little bit too stark for me, so I am going to just come in here and add some extra shading. Blend all that out. All right. I think I need to stop here because I can see that the paper is not dealing with that much water. We'll dry that. Okay, now I'm going to stop there. It's flattened out reasonably well and it's pretty dry. I'm going to set that aside to let dry because I'm going to add some bits to this. I need it to be a little drier. So while we are waiting for that to be totally dry, I'll work on the other elements to my card. Pop that aside, get rid of all this. I'll use that again in a minute. Now, I'm using the Cheers and Sips bundle today, which is on the last chance list in Australia. Fern, you were asking about that paper. It is the Whispers of Texture paper. It's an online exclusive. And it is, I'll just let you know that it is $17.50 for 6 sheets. And there's the 2 different, one's stripe and one's that textural look that I just used. So they are, you won't see them in a catalogue. They're only in the online exclusive. So, yeah. A lot of people miss things when they don't check online all the time. There's so much that's online these days. Now, we're using the Cheers and Sips. It is on the last chance list, and I'm pretty sure it's still there. I checked this morning, so it's discounted. It is much better to buy the individual items. That's not it. The individual dies and stamp set than buy the bundle. Much better price than the bundle. So that is available while stocks last. And I'm going to stamp this one today. So I'm going to stamp that with Pretty Peacock onto some watercolour paper because I am going to watercolour it. So I'm just going to grab a sheet of watercolour paper. Now, when I'm stamping onto this Fluid 100 watercolour paper, I like to just run it through the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. Now, I've got a reasonably clean plate or flat, it's got a few little marks on it, but it's not cut into too badly. So I'm going to put that on top. If you don't have a clean plate, just put a piece of tissue paper or wax paper down first so that the marks don't get onto your paper. But what it does is it just flattens out all the marks off it. It goes off the embossing plate. It flattens the watercolour paper out a little bit, so it makes it easier to stamp on. Right, so we will need my grid paper back so we lose the shine, the Pretty Peacock ink. No, actually, we're not doing Pretty Peacock. I'm going to do Melon Mambo. I will show you the ones that I did earlier, but they're a bit too... There's no way that I would drink those cocktails. I'll show you now. I was playing around last night and the card that I made was like so... I'll just show you all the bits, shall I? It was just so over the top. So this one, it's not put together yet, but would you drink that cocktail? I would not drink that cocktail. That, believe it or not, is Pretty Peacock with Melon Mambo mixed into it. So it's a Peacock Mambo cocktail, and it was just too bright. The pink is way, way bright, which is why I've decided to go with the Pretty Peacock in the background. That card is almost as lurid as the video header today. So this time I'm going to make a Melon Mambo cocktail. So we'll stamp with Melon Mambo. So I just want 2 of these, which I'm going to die cut after I've coloured them. So now I'm going to use some Pretty Peacock on the brain. Melon Mambo ink. This time I'm just going to use a block because we don't need very much. And I'm going to add in a little bit of Poppy Parade, which is the other colour in the colour challenge. So these pink and red are not something that you normally mix together. So let's see how we go, shall we? Now, again, I've got some water here, and I'm just going to grab some paper towel and we'll colour these quickly with brush, some water and those inks. Start with the Melon Mambo. And I won't come right to the top so that it looks like the glass isn't quite full. It's so pretty to see how colours change when they are watercoloured. Now the edges will likely run when you touch them because it's obviously not a waterproof ink. So I'll be very careful when I get to the edges. Some water. Lurid. That's what that cocktail was, that blue one. Now we want the water level to be fairly even. We don't want it to look like we're out at sea somewhere on a rough cruise. Right. Now that's still a little bit wet, so while it's still a little bit wet, we'll add in the Melon Mambo, Poppy Parade. Cross your fingers here. It should blend in okay. They're similar, well, they're not really, but they're both warm colours. That's a start, isn't it? So I just want that to blend in a little bit with the pink. Outside the line here, so we'll just pick that up a little bit with they're blending quite nicely. Now I probably could have used my much smaller water brush, which I did pull out, and would give me a lot more control. But we'll run with this now. I've started with it. Okay, that should blend in nicely there. Okay. Now I need to just dry those. So again, I will mute you quickly. If this was a really clever microphone, it'd have soothing music. Brenda, I cannot believe you haven't used this set. You would drink that cocktail. So this is the one that I made earlier. I think these ones look much better. This is a very weird looking one. These ones look much more drinkable. All right, I'm going to cut that out so I can die cut them. We'll need this again in a minute. So actually, we might do all our watercolouring at the same time. Now, previously I had cut some images out of the designer series paper that comes with this, which is not on the last chance list. Oh dear, I just put something down, my paper down in the other ink. You would not believe the mess I have here. Right, let's bring this in. We're going to stamp some foliage. We're going to stamp some citrus, an umbrella, and a strawberry if I can find it. Oh, there it is. Right. Grab a couple of blocks. Of course, we need an umbrella for our cocktail. We need some citrus and a little strawberry. Right, now I'm not sure what colours to stamp these in, to be honest. Well, I know this foliage can be in a Pretty Peacock. So we'll do a couple of those. I think my Pretty Peacock may need inking. Now our citrus also has to be lime. And I'm probably only need one maybe, but I'll do two just in case. The strawberry obviously doesn't need to be. We'll do Poppy Parade for the strawberry. I don't know what I'm going to do with the leaves because they're not really supposed to be red, but we'll run with that. And I'll do an extra one, and these just will go on the inside if I don't use them on the outside. And what else did I pull out? Umbrella. What colour will we do our umbrellas? I think I'll do them in the Pretty Peacock as well. And maybe I'll do a Melon Mambo one too. We'll do two different ones. Let's move all these notepads out of the road. Clean off that stamp. Ooh, I've got something to clean it off with. How's our sound going, Sharon? Is it staying consistent or is it getting louder and softer as I move around here? I'm going to be so interested to watch this back. All right, now we can do some colouring. I am going to pull out my smaller brush for this. So this is the smaller one. And we can use some of this ink that we've already got here. So we'll do Poppy Parade for our little strawberries. Now I'm going to be quite quick with this. Thanks, Sharon. Yeah, Brenda, have you got the paper as well? The Celebratory Sips Designer Series paper? Because even if you didn't have the stamp set and dies, the Celebratory Sips paper is so amazing. It has the most delicious looking cocktails and all these little bits and pieces that you can die cut. Add some texture to these strawberries. Right, now we've got an umbrella that needs to be painted with the Melon Mambo. Now, these are watercoloured, so I'm not too worried about any white bits that show. Just makes it look like it's been watercoloured. And all of the rest is going to be with the Pretty Peacock, which I don't have on a block, so we'll find a block. This one will do. Right, clean this off. Now, the little, let's do our limes first. Our limes, they are the weirdest coloured limes in the world. Now, I'm not even worried about going over the lines because I've got this quite light, so all those little lines will show and they shouldn't run too much, but what I could have done was dried them with the heat tool before I started painting them to make sure they were really dry, and then those lines would hardly move at all. We'll just go over that quickly. I'll add a little bit of shading in the middle. Just into each of those little segments. And, you know, normally I would do these a lime colour, but because I'm following the colour challenge, so Fern, if you're looking and wondering why is she painting those citrus in Pretty Peacock, which is the most uncitrusy colour you could find, it is because I'm following a colour challenge. And so I needed to use Pretty Peacock as my green shading. Now, probably could have added crumb cake to the mix, and that crumb cake has a very green vibe to it, and that may have made a greeny colour. An awful greeny colour, but a greeny colour. All right, and now we need to do our little strawberry tops. You can see I'm not being too fussy here. Just adding the colour in there. And then these little foliage pieces. And just have some little strokes of colour in there. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and die cut these. See, this is just adding some shading. It's not really even colouring them in. It's just adding a bit of shading in there. This is looking a bit odd. I do have my Stampin' Blends here somewhere in Pretty Peacock. Now, they're under this mess here now. What you could do is, not with that one, because that one is very yucky on the end. Here's one that's a bit better. And this is light, but it is way dark. I don't know if I like this. Might be a reject. I'll see what it looks like when I cut it out. But I don't think I like that one very much. I was just trying to add some text, some detail into that middle bit. That was light too, I think. No, that was dark. Maybe the lighter one would work better. I've got light. Are they all dark? Is light. Or if light will look any better. Let's test it. Actually, light is a little bit better, but not that one. So hold your breath. No, it doesn't look any better, does it? Does it? Looks awful. Okay, we won't do that. This one actually not looking too bad now that it's sort of settling out, but I'll stamp and colour. I'll just colour a couple more. And what I'll do is I will take my own advice. I will dry these quickly. Now, hopefully, and what we'll do is we'll add quite a bit more water so it's lighter. There we go. And then the shading will stand out a bit more. The lines in the middle of the citrus. Normally I would take a little bit more time with my watercolouring, but we are in a bit of a time squeeze today. Texture in there. There we go. That will do. Right. Now I am going to have to die cut all those. However, because I did some earlier, there are some I won't have to die cut. So these are those ones that I did earlier we can use. And no, I don't have any other bits. So the rest of them have to be die cut. So I'll just dry these bits of lemon. They're sort of mouldy bits of lemon. All All right, I'm going to, oops, move all these. Oh, I just got water everywhere. I told you I'm such a klutzy crafter, and I have got such a mess here. Things all over the place. All right, we need to die cut our 2 cocktails. So let me find the dies. And we will need 2 umbrella sticks, which I have some pretty peacock cardstock here, which I did the other ones from, so I'll do those. So we can line quite a few of these up on the sheet at the same time. So it just takes a few passes through to cut them all out. So I'll just line these up on here. I've got a bit of tape. What else do we need? Cut these up a bit. You know, this one's looking actually quite good now. Let it settle down. So we need a strawberry or 2. We need the umbrellas. I do have one. Oh, look, I've got one that I've done earlier. We'll try a couple of different citrus, and we'll need a couple of strawberries. All right, we need a citrus, so there's one for that. So I cut this one. It's actually looking okay. It's sort of settled down a lot. All right, a bit of citrus. We need a strawberry. Sorry, I know watching people die cut is the most boring thing in the world. So I have been featuring this stamp set a lot this week in my personal crafting, as well as my crafting for different elements. So I've got a couple of lovely cards that I can show you if I remember before we go. So what else do we need? That should run that through. Citrus. Okay, let's have a look and see what we've got. So that's our other umbrella, and that's our stick. Lost the stick. Here it is. Stick. A bit of citrus. Oh, we might do this one and see what this one looks like once it's cut out. I do find that the it's in the designer series paper are so easy to cut out, and they're all quite vibrantly coloured, so it does make it a lot easier. Yes, please, for strawberries. Well, that's very true, Fern. Yes, you probably would, especially that blue one. Wow, that looks like rocket fuel. It looks like one, I don't know, when I was younger, we used to have one called a Blue Lagoon, which was 2 different colours, and it had blue in it. And one colour used to sit on the bottom. I'm not quite sure it was purple though. Wow. Right, let's see what we've got. I think we've got enough cut out to do the front of the card. So I'll just remove all of these dies from the paper and the tape, because speaking from experience, it is very easy to throw these away if you don't remove them. Throw these dies and then you have to go searching through the rubbish bins. All right, so we don't need another stick, so our umbrellas just go on here with a glue dot. Grab one of these and stick. Glue dot on the top. So this is the olive stick, I believe, the little, you know, those little bamboo-y olive sticks. they put in martinis. Now this stick can have a little bit of a touch of Pretty Peacock in the top. So now I've got 2 umbrellas, one for each cocktail. Oops, stuck to the paper. I've got 2 foliage pieces. I've got 2 strawberries and some citrus, which they both look very different. So I'm going to have to choose one. Now this citrus, I've obviously cut this one the wrong way, so I'm going to take off a little edge here. It's a little bit too white. Maybe we'll only have citrus in one. All right, so what's this one going to be called? A melon parade cocktail. All right, now we want to do a little bit more work to these cocktail glasses. So I'm just going to move all of these out of the road for a second, move everything up here out of the road while I make an even bigger mess than I already have. So I've got some clear embossing powder. Oops, got my little tray. I'm going to clear emboss the front of these to look like glass. So just push everything out of the road, Cheryl. I've got so much space to work with here and I always end up in a huge mess. So what were you wondering? I'm just going back through the messages here. I've lost my mouse. Oh, it's under the watercolour paper. Just going back through. So what were you wondering, Fern? Oh, the size of the DSP maybe? All right. So I've just plonked that in. You can see it's quite wet. It's going to go face down in there. And plonk this one down into the pad. So I'm just pressing it in so that the embossing powder will get right into everything on that watercolour paper. Then I've got my little pair of tweezers. You can see, oops, I don't know if that's one of my hairs or one of the dog hairs. Right, you can see the powder all over that. So now I'm going to emboss this, so I will put you on mute again quite quickly. So I just did that last little bit that was being held by the tweezers, but you can see it's quite speckledy, so we'll fix that. But I'll just do the other one. Still sitting patiently over here in the embossing powder. So I'm just holding onto it by the very, very top edge with the tweezers. So again, I'll mute you. Now, unless you particularly want a speckled glass like that, you want to add another layer of embossing powder. So trick here is to just add another layer of Versamark. So, but I will press it in again quite firmly because I want that Versamark to get all the way into all of those little grooves. So again, once I've got the Versamark on there, I'm just going to throw it in the embossing powder, and we'll do the other one as well. Press it in, throw it in there, like that. And again, we'll grab our tweezers. So just give that a good press into the powder. You want the powder to get all the way into all the little nooks and crannies that we've made with that bubbly embossing. And then just do the same thing again. I'll mute you again. Okay, you can see where I dropped that one and I've lost my embossing, so I'm going to have to do that little bit again. So I'm just going to let that dry first and grab my other one. It's got lots of nice powder on it. Again, I'll mute you. Oh, forgot to unmute you. It's cool now, so where all that powder came off, I'm just going to add some more Versamark. Do the same process again. It's pretty good. And this one hasn't picked up here, so I'll do the same with that. Just on that one side. Okay. Won't do both. It'll just blow them all around, so I will now hold on to it. But I better put you on mute first. I don't know if you can see that, but it is very scrummy. Look at that. Gorgeous. Oops, that was my tweezers. See if we can do this one without the tweezers. That worked okay. All right. So that they do take a little bit extra to dry, or to get cool, I should say. That's quite hard in there now. So we've got two very glassy looking cocktails, and it does, that's what increases the colour. So they went from a watercoloured look to a very shiny, lurid type looking cocktail. So these ones did actually look okay before I embossed them. But they do get very bright. All right, now let's bring back in that piece that we used for the background. So now I'm going to add some things to this. So first up, I'm going to do, it's nice and dry now. So for the colour challenge, if you remember, it was Pretty Peacock, Melon Mambo, Poppy Parade and gold. Now I had no idea where I was going to add gold into this mix because, you know, it just doesn't really make much sense. So what I'm going to do, and I have no idea how this will work, so you can experiment with me. I'm going to add some gold splatter. Now, if I can find, oh, here it is. So I've got my Versamark ink refill here. I am going to use my embossing buddy. And I'm going to grab my gold embossing powder. A block. Doesn't have to be a very big one. We don't need very much. I'm going to put a drop of embossing fluid on there, and I'm going to add the very slightest amount of water. Now I've got all these brushes here and none of them are really clean except this one. So we'll use this one. If you have an old, oh, I've got an old paintbrush over here. Probably better to use an old paintbrush than your water painters, because you're going to be putting a little bit of water into that embossing fluid. Interesting. Now let's see if I can get it to splatter because it's quite gloopy. I'm going to add a bit more water in there. I have never done this before, so this is a total experiment. Just move everything out of the road. And I'm going to tap that firmly onto a, oh yeah, it's making drops. It's very gloopy though, but I suppose that it needs to be. So I'm just adding some gold splatters. We'll see how many we've got. Just put that in the water. I'm going to tip this into my gold powder, or rather, yes, slide it in and hope that it just doesn't all stick everywhere. Oh no, look, something good's happening. I thought it might just stick all over the piece because it had been watercoloured, but it's not. Oh, look at that. That's very interesting, isn't it? Let's see what it looks like once we emboss it. Heat tool, and I'll mute you again. That. Hello, Angie. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, I think it looks okay, but some of it blew off. It didn't actually stick, so that's interesting because you can see it's just turned into this big gloopy mess. I wonder what else you could use other than the Versamark. That to me made more sense. But anyway, we'll go from this end now. We'll see if we can. It makes quite a lot of dots, but whether or not the powder's going to stick to it, because is it just water, or do those dots have the Versamark fluid in them, is a whole other story. So let's see what happens this time. Now I didn't go over it with the embossing buddy, so that will be interesting. So So yeah, depending on whether how much of the drops are water and how much have the embossing fluid in them, I guess. See, these ones were just water and it's not sticking. Making nice, interesting lighter bits though, so not a total waste. But I've got some extra gold now. So it just depends on where the Versamark fluid hits. So I'm going to have to investigate what I could put in it to make it stick. Or if you've seen anyone else do, could use gold flakes. I do try and use current stuff, and the gold flakes aren't current anymore. I'm just going to put you on mute. Okay, so some just blew off and some, so they left white marks though, which are quite pretty. I'm wondering if more refill versus water. It just went very gloopy, and I don't think it would splatter. But I'm thinking that maybe liquid glue might work. I'm going to have to experiment with that. I've got enough gold on there now, but liquid glue with a tiny bit of water in it might work rather than the Versamark. Because I think the liquid glue would bind with the water better. The Versamark sort of separated out. So I'll try it and maybe next week I'll let you know how I went. But anyway, there's enough gold in there now to suit our purposes. So now I'm going to add some designer series paper down the edge. Now, I've got a piece here. I'm using Woven Textures. Now, I didn't check this morning, but Woven Textures is also on the last chance list, and I love this paper. Love it. I'm going to use this one because I think it looks quite, cabana cocktail-y sort of ish. So I'm going to just use a strip down the side and I'm going to tear it, so I'll need to cut it. I have all my embossing powders open, and everywhere here I have the hugest mess in the world. You would think that I have this whole desk to work with and I end up with such a mess. So the piece is 14.3. I'll just trim this to the right length. I'll just tear a little bit down here. And then that's going to go down there. So it's not going to cover up too much of the gold. All right, I've got powder everywhere. I've got such a mess. Now, I would glue that on if I knew where my glue was. There it is. Way over the other side. All right. Now, this is quite nice on this side too, but I thought this was very, sit by the pool under the little thatch-topped cabana, sipping your cocktail. Anyway, that was my thought. Mind you, the pretty peacock's maybe it's the middle of the night. Maybe these are the stars. We're having nighttime cocktails under the cabana with a very pretty peacock night and lots of sparkling stars. Right, that's on there. This is going to go on a white card base. So here's one. This one I prepared earlier, but I haven't folded it yet. So I think we can go ahead and glue that down now because I don't have to do anything else to this poor piece of paper. We'll have to put lots of glue on here because it's all very wobbly. How many things can you do to one piece of paper and still expect it to hold up? Lots, according to Cheryl. All right, now I'm just going to go and get a big block. Plonk. Just to make sure that it all sticks, because it was so wobbly. I want it to stick. And then we'll just grab our elements on. We need to do a sentiment. So I'm going to use one out of the Cheers and Stips stamp set while that's drying. Cheers and Stips. The Cheers and Stips. Cheers and Stips. We'll do, covered them over. It's under there. To Twice a Short Day. Let's Celebrate. That sounds like a good one. Oops. A little block. A little block. Yes. We won't be too fussy with this. I'm just going to stamp it onto some white cardstock. Now, you're not going to believe it, but the only white cardstock I have here is huge. And we'll stamp with Pretty Peacock. That's over there. Gold watercolour from a tube or bottle. Yeah, I could. I don't have any of that, but yeah, I'm really bad at trying to find ways to do things using whatever we have that's current, whatever we might already have in our stash. So let's Celebrate. I have seen people using some sort of gold ink that comes in a bottle. Can't remember what it's called. I'm thinking one of the paint brand names, and it's like a very liquid ink that comes in a bottle. That would be perfect. Then you wouldn't even have to emboss it. You could just splatter the gold. All right, let's just cut this out, shall we? Where am I? Running out of time. I'm already over the hour, so I need to be quick. One of these days I'm going to do a live that's less than an hour long. Let's Celebrate. It's not very straight. Straighten it up. Oh, fiddly. Fiddly, can I do it? Yes. There we go. Right, let's hope this is stuck down now. It has, I think, pretty well. Let's use our cocktails. I'm going to pop them up with some dimensionals. You definitely use your set now? Good. Good. Right. So we'll put this one up first. I probably should decide where I'm going to put everything else, shouldn't I? So we've got this little cocktail umbrella, and I had a Pretty Peacock one as well. Over here. We've got a couple of strawberries. We've got some foliage. And a piece of lemon. Now, I think what we might do is put the mouldy lemon over the edge here. So if I just do this, so I'll do that before we start gluing things down. There we go. And then this one can maybe not have some lemon, or maybe can. I don't even know what I did with the other one. I don't think I'd cut it out. So anyway, that, you know what I'm going to do? I take this one, just cut it out quickly half, and I'll sort of put it in the background of the other cocktail, just so it doesn't look like someone forgot to. There we go. Something like that. And then our little Let's Celebrate can just go across here somewhere. This is I'm going to have to put this one. I'll just glue that up there like that. Right, so can you remember what that looks like, because as soon as I take all this stuff away, I won't remember. I'm going to just put the dimensionals a fair way down so I can tuck things in underneath. You love this card so much, Brenda. You have the old gold refill for the gold ink. I suppose I probably, seeing as I never get rid of anything, I probably do have that tucked away somewhere, Angie. So what was that ink called? I'm hiding all my gold. I'm not happy, Jan. Right, we'll do the same on this one. Let's a fair way over. So I'm hiding all that beautiful gold splatter. There's a bit left here. Right. To this side. Yes, I do remember which one you mean. I just can't quite remember what it was called. But yes, that would have had a refill somewhere. Trouble is that I put all my old retired stuff away so that I don't accidentally use it. It'll be in a drawer here somewhere. Right. Okay, let's see if we can tuck some stuff in now. Might have to trim my umbrella handles off. Go on there and we'll pop that up on dimensionals as well. Liquid glue though, I think that might work. It will be much more fluid. This little piece of, oh, I forgot the foliage. Just lift that up. Foliage can go flat. Foliage. I don't know what they call it when they put this stuff in cocktails. Accoutrements, cocktail accoutrements. Right, this little half piece of lemon can go in behind. Here, something like that. This foliage. And then our little umbrella can tuck down in here. I might have to cut some of that off. Yep. And that can go on dimensionals as well. Well, I tell you what, these were very interesting colours to work with. I will tell you, especially because I'd already decided I was using this set. So they had to be... that almost doesn't need any glue, but I'm going to put, what am I going to do? I might just use glue dots because it's not going to stick very well to the, well, I would use glue dots if I knew where they were. Here they are. It's not going to stick very well to the embossing if I use glue. So maybe just a glue dot there and a glue dot here. I forgot our strawberries. Needs to be a strawberry up in here somewhere. That can go on with glue dots as well. I can't remember where the strawberry was. There's one down the bottom. I needed someone to take a screenshot and then yell at me when I'm putting things in the wrong place. That strawberry looks a bit weird there, but anyway, that'll be fine. I'll tuck it underneath the umbrella. There we go. Where's the other one? Here. At the bottom. Mint. Is that what it is? Golden glitz. Oh, delicate. I seem to remember delicate, Brenda. Yes, I do seem to remember. Delicate something, wasn't it? Right, now our little Celebrate does have to go up on dimensionals, but I will need some minis because it's quite narrow. Right, so not the let's end, the other end. You won't see those, you can a little bit. Oops, just squish them in. Let's Celebrate. Right, and now I was going to put some gold sequins on there, but I don't think we need them. Where are they? I don't have the current gold sequins. I do have some old ones, but there are current gold adhesive sequins, I think. Or maybe they're loose. Maybe they're loose. These are all my old ones. But I think it's going to take away from the gold. I'm going to leave them off. Leave them with the gold. I think that will be enough. All right, so that is that one. I'll just bring back in that, now that I've rated all the pieces, it hasn't got all the pieces that it had, but this was the other coloured cocktails on the Melon Mambo. See how bright that is? I much prefer this one. Okay, I much prefer cocktails at night under the cabana than this one. And these poison-looking cocktails. So there we go. That's it. I will use all those other bits that I've watercoloured for the inside, but I'll do that later because we are way over time. So this will go up in the, where's my face back again? Can't find anything on this desk, including my mouse. There we go. Turn some of this light off so I don't get so much glare. There we go. So what do you think? I've definitely used the colour challenge, I think, with this card. It's very bright. But they're much more drinkable looking cocktails. So, yes. I will put that up in the colour challenge page. And thank you so much for coming along. Hello, Nicole. I was going to show you something else, wasn't I? Do I have it here, close by? I can show you. This is one that I did for the for Angie's Around the World on Wednesday blog hop just recently. So it's a star card, which was cased from Tina's Ink, who is the Serene stamper. So that is using the paper. So that's, Brenda, that's the elements in the paper cut out and put onto the card. So those cocktails in the paper are absolutely delicious and, you know, real lime, a real limey colour. So, yeah, a beautiful little quite easy to make card. So hop on over to Tina's Ink's website. She's called the Serene Stamper, and there is a video showing you how to make not just this one but quite a few different variations in this particular card. And then the other one, which I'll just grab, if you go over to the Around the World on Wednesday blog hop, Rochelle Laird Smith made this one and she taught me how to make this. So it is called a Turkish fold, I believe. So it's just done with designer series paper, and I've just cut all of those elements out individually and put them on the inside. And then these are also from the designer series paper. So they just look gorgeous and they're not that hard to fussy cut. So that's just another one done with that. Now I have umpteen million others because I've been using this set for a long time. It is fabulous to use, so you'll have to get in and use it, Brenda. Yeah, so yeah, lots of different techniques to use with it too. So yes, if you have it, get in and use it. If you don't have it, it is on the last chance list. I'm not sure how long it'll stay on there, but it is on the last chance list and it is quite nicely discounted at the moment, both the dies and the stamp set. Thank you very much, ladies. I'm way over time, so I had better go. I will see you again next week. It'll be much more relaxed, back to the normal time next week, and hopefully a lot more organised. All my classes are finished. The last one is tomorrow. So then I will have a little bit of a break for a couple of weeks and just be able to focus on coming live and being more organised. Now I've got to clean this mess up. I might have to take a photo of the desk to show you what it looks like after I finish creating. Thank you, ladies. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.